Hey everyone, and welcome back to my Completionist playthrough of Diablo 2, played on hardcore. And in this episode we're going to start out with the Forgotten Tower quest, and actually do a couple of Countess runs, which will give us an opportunity to speak about a few things later on. But first, in between episodes I did some shopping with Akara and got a +2 chargeable staff. I sold our +3 mana ring to have enough money for that, and I wanted to hold on to our frozen armor staff for now, to showcase the concept of using some weapons we have on Switch, but more on that in a moment. We also have this one leftover skill point from last episode, and we're going to put it into Frost Nova, a very nice utility skill that is going to come more and more in handy in some of the environments we're going to find ourselves in. We also need to pick up some mana potions from Akara before we get going, and of course equip our new Charge Bolt staff, giving us a nice boost to our main attack skill. And on Switch I'm going to keep holding on to these Strangling Gas potions for now, to showcase their usefulness first. And of course, as you can see, we can have 2 sets of weapons that we can quickly switch between with a hotkey. And with some of these mana potions we should be ready to go. And of course, since we're playing on single player, the maps stay the same. And once explored we will know where to go, at least until we reset them, which can be done either by switching the difficulty, so once we unlock Nightmare we are going to have that option, or by setting up a LAN game, by going through the TCP IP menu. That is also going to generate a new set of maps, but of course in our case we have already revealed where the passage to the Black Marsh is in the last episode, and now we're going to go straight there. And in the Black Marsh there's not that many points of interest. There's of course the Countess Tower, the main event, a waypoint to flag, and also an optional side area called The Hole, but we're going to visit that one on Nightmare, of course. And the reason we're going to do a couple of these Countess Tower runs is twofold. First, it is really nice to get some experience, because there's quite a few special monster groups in there, and the levels in that Countess Tower basement are so small that you don't have to search a lot to find them. So during a run you can usually just run into a couple of them and get some nice experience every time you go through there. By the way, this is the passage to the Temple Highland that we're going to use later on to progress further in the game. And the second reason to run the Countess Tower more than once is to build up an initial supply of runes. Here's the waypoint, here's the hole, so we only need to find the tower now. And yeah, runes are really interesting and useful items, and that can be put into open sockets in items, just like gems can, and they are going to give certain bonuses to us that way. But the unique thing about runes is that once they are put into certain items in a specific order, they can create runewords, a completely separate type of item. And that creation process basically comprises the main crafting system of the game. You can also craft some other items by using some Horadric Cube recipes, but nothing really comes close to the usefulness of runewords. And the Countess, of course, is known for her rune drops. She can drop up to 3 runes per kill. Alright, here's the tower, and also a shrine nearby, which we are going to always be able to check and make use of, which is very nice.
This place holds many secrets.
Yeah, and we're going to reveal those secrets. Actually, having this experience shrine active is a little unfortunate, because here I wanted to talk about some of those map rules that we've started talking about in the last episode, because the normal Countess Tower is just the perfect example to showcase the concept. So, of course, let's just put the map into a more visible spot. So, of course, maps in Diablo 2 are randomly generated, but they do adhere to certain rules. That some of those rules were figured out. And here in the tower cellars, we always have to go left from the first tile, or relative to how the first tile is oriented. So we're not talking about the entrance itself. The fact that it's facing to the bottom left is completely irrelevant. We have to identify the first piece of the map, this block here, and it is facing to the top right. So going left from that means that we're going to have to go to the top left, and somewhere to the left of this piece is going to be the exit. Why this normal Countess Tower is great for explaining that concept is because these levels are very small. They are much bigger on Nightmare and on Hell. Also, this concept is going to be really nicely showcased in Act 2, in some of the dungeons in Act 2, but those dungeons are noticeably larger, and sometimes going left, because you also have to go left in there, sometimes going left is going to involve going right 3 times and arriving at our destination in a very roundabout way. But here in the normal Countess Tower, the levels are so small that they are very straightforward, and yeah, as you can see, we were brought directly to where we needed to find the exit. So yeah, we're not really finding that many groups in here. Alright, there's one. So let's just put this experience shrine to good use and try to kill some guys while it's still active.
I can't carry anymore.
And yeah, also these strangulating gas potions, I wanted to showcase their usefulness in this tower. I think we're going to use them to kill the Countess. They are useful even on a class like the Sorceress, who of course does start out with a decent enough AoE in the form of Charged Bolt. But of course, especially on classes that don't have any AoE to start with, or they don't just have any impressive damage abilities in general. For example, if you start out as a barbarian with no gear, those strangulating gas potions are going to be a really welcome drop. Yeah, and basically we are going to use them, of course, to poison a group of monsters and deal a very nice amount of ticking damage over time in an AoE fashion. And then we can just go back to our normal staff and finish them off with some charged bolts. The Countess, of course, is a super unique, contributing to our objective, and we got a tier rune. And of course, the first time we kill the Countess, her treasure chest also opens.
I am overburdened. I hope to find other such treasures.
Well, perhaps we will. Perhaps we will, dear Sorceress. Anyway, now that this run is done, I'm going to save and exit and start over. We also got a level, so we might as well put the next 5 points into strength. Now that we are at 25, we are going to be able to equip the 3-row belt, and we're going to start checking Charcy's selection for that purpose. And we're going to keep continuing and putting points into Charge Bolt. Also, since we advanced far enough through the game and we're close to the monastery, now Charcy is going to have a quest for us.
When I fled the monastery, I left behind the Heraldric Malice, my enchanted smithing hammer. If you can retrieve it for me, I'll use its magic to strengthen your equipment.
Yeah, so that Heraldric Malice, what's interesting is that this is one of the 2 quests in the whole game that has a level requirement. You need to be at least level 8 to be able to either interact with that Malice stand or pick up the hammer itself. But of course the other quest is the Ancients, where you need to be level 20 on normal, level 40 on nightmare, and level 60 on hell. For that, of course, we don't want to talk to Charcy necessarily, but alright, here's the belt, just called belt. Let's just sell some of these less useful gems and get that belt. Now we can have 3 rows of potions, which is a very nice convenience boost. Also, we of course got an Ith rune, not a tier rune. I think I said a tier. Anyway, Ith is rune number 6, so it's going to be positioned in this slot. Let's say that, for example, on page 10 of our stash, we are going to sort runes by their number. And basically, there are 33 runes in the whole game, and they are sorted kind of in a list. And their position on that list corresponds roughly to how rare they are, but not exactly. Like, for example, rune number 1, L, is not the most common rune in the game. But also it corresponds with the level requirement these runes have in order to benefit from their effect. And also, most importantly, that order matters when it comes to upgrading runes. Once we get the Heraldric Cube, we are going to be able to put 3 runes of the same type and upgrade them into 1 rune of the higher type. And then later on, when it comes to higher level runes, the recipe becomes a little bit more involved. There's usually a specific gem required to be able to upgrade them. But on the other hand, when it comes to the really high tier runes, you only need 2 runes of the below tier and a gem to upgrade.
I need mana. I am overburdened.
Alright. And also, since we are going to do kind of, you know, the same run quite a few times here, it's basically going to be greatly influenced by what runes we're going to get, because the amount of times we're going to run this tower is going to be influenced by what type of runes we're going to receive. Alright, these archers are going to be the most dangerous groups here by far, and yeah, let's actually replenish some life before we re-engage. And yeah, Frost Nova there comes really in handy to slow them down. In general, like in the tower, you can start using Frost Nova basically once you step through the entrance. Yeah, that's multi-shot. I think that's why they hurt so much. You can start using those Frost Novas kind of right away as you step through the exit of that previous level. That's basically a habit I have developed for the temples in Act 3, where I don't even look whether like someone's in there once we kind of step into the level. I just cast Frost Nova right away, just in case some dangerous group is right there kind of at the doorstep trying to greet us. And that might be something to do on level 3 of the cellar, because usually that group of archers is going to be there. And yeah, there was a group of champions, of ghost champions last time here, so I went specifically into this corridor, knowing that there's probably going to be another group of special monsters. And I heard that amulet drop, so needed to check those drops more carefully there to make sure to pick it up. Anyway, I was talking about certain runes that we want to secure. So we really want to make sure that we have both the Tal and Eth runes for our stealth rune word that we're going to be able to make use of from level 17. But also other types of runes are going to be useful for us. Like for example, Tear runes give mana per kill, and Ral runes give fire resistance. So having some of those drop is going to be useful for us too. And the Countess drops the first 8 runes, so from L to Ral, and we got a Ral. It gives 30% fire resistance, so if you have a 2 open socket helmet, you can put 2 Ral runes into it and just have 60% fire resistance just from one item. And actually, speaking of those open socket items, I am going to start checking Charcy for helmets with 2 open sockets, chest pieces with 2 open sockets, like this one. We are going to be able to just purchase it in a moment. Fire resist 8, and we didn't have any gloves, so that's nice. 9 to mana, might as well equip it here. But yeah, we're going to get this 2 open socket chest in preparation for our stealth rune word. And we also are going to check out the small shields here, if we're going to be able to get the 2 open socket small shields as well. Let's just sell a couple of more things to Akara here and get some mana potions instead of all of these healing potions. Alright. And let's keep going. And also, because we are going to be doing kind of the same run a couple of times, I can address some other things that kind of popped up after, you know, me posting this or starting this playthrough. There was one comment about the music volume being low. I did increase it by quite a bit, but of course, you know, because of the nature of this playthrough and my commentary, I'm not sure how audible it's going to be, but perhaps you are going to be able to now hear it here and there. Also, there were quite a few comments about Icewind Dale, and of course, Icewind Dale is my main project for 2020. But I did say at the end of my Baldur's Gate 2 playthrough that first I would like to record around 2 shorter games, Diablo 2 being one of them. But seeing all of the interest and all of the comments, as well as having in mind the fact that I have been planning that playthrough for a long time now, I think the time is going to be right to go directly into Icewind Dale after Diablo 2 is finished. So if you're waiting for Icewind Dale, you're not going to have to wait for too long. And finally, I've also re-uploaded the intro video to this playthrough after seeing how horrible the YouTube compression has destroyed its quality the first time I uploaded it. I just got sick to my stomach when I beheld that horror. I felt like Shartil does when she smells the scent of a man. You know, it was just a traumatic experience, but now there are some higher qualities available on that video. It's kind of silly that, you know, in order to watch that video in like its true quality, just how I made it and intended it to look, you have to kind of watch it into the, you know, 4K Ultra HD 2160p quality. But yeah, at least then the text transitions are smooth and sharp, just how they were meant to be. And yeah, another Countess kill coming up. We really want to see those Tal and Eth runes, Countess. She's generally been kind of skimping out on us when it comes to those rune drops, just dropping 1 rune per kill. Alright, Ral, Tal, and Tal. So that's a little bit better, Countess. See, maybe I have pressured her a little bit, you know, to actually drop some better stuff. Greetings, Kane. Alright, so we actually have... Alright, this is slot 8. Ral is rune number 8. Tal is rune number 7. Can sort it nicely row by row. Also, more vitality. More charged bolt. Now let's check out Charcy's selection. Alright, nothing with... Okay, 2 open socket shield. We are going to get that in a moment. Let's see these rings. Oh, 10 FCR. That is so nice. Our casting is going to be already a little bit quicker. And we have an 8 to life large charm. I guess I'm going to, you know, hold on to it. This this grand charm we are going to get rid of soon enough, but, you know, we'll see about that. For now, we can hold on to it. It doesn't take all that much space in our inventory. Right, do we need mana potions? Not really. Let's just keep going. So yeah, we're getting closer when it comes to our runes. We just need that Eth rune, just to have that stealth rune word already kind of secured and ready to go. Once we hit level 17, we're going to be able to craft a really good early game item with those runes. Oh, and I forgot to actually buy that 2 open socket small shield. It's not a big deal because, you know, she always has some small shields available, and it's just a matter of checking it a couple of times at best, probably, to get a 2 open socket one. And we still have some time for that too, because I ideally want to switch kind of at the end of Act 1 or at the beginning of Act 2 to a one-handed and shield weapon combo. For now we can keep using our nice chargeable staff. And, you know, we're doing fine for now. Chip topaz, that's actually nice. I wouldn't mind... Oh, another one. I wouldn't mind a diamond for all res, but just having some lightning resistance is going to be really nice for Act 2. Alright, that fanaticism aura, I'm not a fan of that fanaticism. But, you know, since it wasn't a particularly dangerous base monster type, these goatmen generally aren't that problematic. And of course, since this is normal, you know, this wasn't too bad, but, you know, on later difficulties, auras like might or fanaticism or, you know, conviction, stuff like that, are going to make me pause and go into more careful mode before we engage such groups. Also depending on what the base monster is, of course. Alright, Ral and Eth, exactly what we needed. And even this preserved head, I guess I'm going to take it. Alright, so what's our experience situation? We are at level 11. We might do one more run to hit level 12 before progressing forward. Because we basically already secured all the runes we needed. I wouldn't mind a tier rune for some mana per kill. But... you know, it's our situation is definitely not too bad. No open socket helmets so far. yeah, basically the runes and certain gems can be placed nicely in 2 open socket helmets. Like a certain combo I like doing is having 1 tier rune in a helmet, giving that 2 mana per kill, and then adding a sapphire for more mana or a ruby for more health, or having another 2 open socket helmet with like 2 ral runes for that 60% fire resistance, which is very, very appreciated in Act 3 and Act 4 especially. Having some fire resistance is going to be very important once we get there. But hopefully by the time we get to Act 3 and 4 we are going to have some additional options to be a little bit safer on that fire damage front. Also going to have to pick up some stamina potions. No archers to greet us this time on level 3.
I am overburdened.
Yeah, stop blocking the way, dude. I just thought... I just had a dorky thought to say to this goatman that if he unblocks the way, I am going to grant him a quick, swift, merciful death. I don't know, sometimes I just have these like dorky thoughts of like what a cartoony villain would say, I guess. Alright, 1 more into Charge Bolt, and that should be, I think, good enough. I'm going to start putting points into static field, I think, from now on. Now our damage should be good. Alright, Neff. Neff can be useful later on for creating a couple of rune words. I think it's used for smoke, for example. But anyway, now I think it is going to be the time to start moving on. Any 2 open socket stuff, Charcy? Nope. Anyway, now I think we're going to sell these strangulating gas potions. I just wanted... They were more, serving the purpose of demonstration rather than like actual usefulness. Now we're going to put into our second weapon slot, we're going to put our frozen armor staff. And kind of start using that from now on. Can also fill up to 20 both of our tomes. Now our financial situation is a lot better. We can allow ourselves to be a little more extravagant, maybe, when it comes to our finances. Anyway. Oh yeah, now of course from the other staff we can get ourselves some frozen armor. It freezes melee attackers once they hit us, which is really nice for safety, especially once we start teleporting around. Alright, an experience shrine would have been really nice for some Countess tower runs, but it's okay. We are at level 12, we're doing fine. Now the Tamo Highland is just a completely a transit area, and that leads to the monastery. However, there is one side area here too, called the Pit, and I think we're going to leave the Pit for Hell. It is a level 85 area there, and it is not... It's kind of dangerous for a meteor build that we're going to have at that point, because there are both fire immunes and cold immunes in there. But it is still a nice area to farm for some stuff, and we might farm it together with some mausoleum, perhaps. In a run we might do mausoleum, crypt, and pit, something like that, to farm for some items, especially some socketables. But because I would like to have that monarch kind of early on in Hell. I'm not sure, how our luck is going to treat us in that regard, but it's something that would be really welcome. Now, the Sorceress didn't say her line, or did I not hear it? When entering the monastery map, she says that, the monastery, Andariel's stronghold. Alright, now in this outer cloister, there are only 3 layouts of this area, And from this like courtyard, there are 3 passages, one going straight forward, one going left, and one going right. And from the layout of this inner courtyard, this plaza, we can immediately know where to go to progress into the barracks. This layout with this cross-shaped kind of vegetation, flowery area means that we need to go straight forward. So in there's going to be the barracks. If this courtyard is clear, and the waypoint is on the right side, you have to go left, and if the waypoint is on the left side, you have to go right. So just 3 layouts here to memorize in order to know exactly where to go. A little bug with the doors there, but no worries, we were able to pass through. And yeah, here are the barracks. Here there's another super unique Mr. Smithy dude guarding that Horadric Malice that Charcy wants us to retrieve. And generally, in order to reach the exit, you need to go either straight or to the left. Going right is always going to be a dead end, and we're going to see... Alright, we have found the exit already. There's no point in dropping a TP here, because we're not going to go into a waypoint to like return here through town. We're going to have to do it on foot. Anyway, a special group there. We are of course going to annihilate for some experience. But anyway, I was about to say that we're going to have to explore a little bit more of this area in order to find that malice for Charcy. Yeah, here these archers, quite dangerous. These skeleton archers are not as likely to move, unfortunately. The rogue archers, if you kind of spam charge bolts from a distance, they usually are more incentivized to like come closer to you and kind of walk into the charge bolts. However, the skeleton archers are not as cooperative usually. So I'm not sure if this wasn't actually a waste of time just sitting here for so long trying to kill this one group. But anyway. Let's move on. Wells refill both some of our health and mana and stamina, and they also heal curses. And they have 2 charges each, although they regenerate. So if we pass by that well later on, it might have another use for us. Alright, here's Mr. Smithy dude.
I shall make weapons from your bones.
Yeah, whatever you say, dude. And here's that Horadric Malice stand. Alright, nothing interesting.
I hope the sisters appreciate this thing.
Yeah, so now let's head back to the jail level 1 entrance. And progress forward. The well has not regenerated yet. And there's a glow in there. Yes, a champion group. Okay. We can kill them. Any more mana potions? Not really. We are going to have to go to town to replenish our supplies of those. Also, for now, I'm putting away these rejuvenation potions into my stash. These rejuvenation potions replenish health and mana, and they do it instantly without you know, this replenishment time of normal potions. So they are very, very nice for survival, and for that reason, you know, they are not really needed right now. Although I think I am going to use them for Mr. Pitspawn, Foul Dog Pitspawn, whatever his name is.
If there was magic here, it's long gone now.
Where would there be magic in a jail, Sorceress? Don't you think you're a little biased when it comes to that whole magic thing? Anyway, when it comes to the jail levels 1 and 2, we have to go straight to reach the exit. However, on jail level 1, there is a waypoint if we go somewhere to the left. So we'll see how those maps are going to treat us. So yeah, the rejuve potions I usually just hold on to for later, or like more dangerous times. But yeah, when it comes to jail level 2, there's going to be a super unique that's very, very dangerous for this part in the game. Especially for a build like ours, like a lightning-based build. Because Pitspawn Foul Dog is a tainted guy. Well, actually, we're going to talk more about him once we encounter him. Because I think for this episode, we're going to find the waypoint. And I think it's going to be, yeah, a good moment to stop for now. Let's just finish Charcy's quest and check her selection one more time.
Oh, thanks so much for returning the Horadric Malice. I will now imbue one of your items with magical powers.
Yeah, so now Charcy has this imbue option. We can give her a normal non-magical item, and she's basically going to make a rare item out of it. And, yeah, of course, earlier on we have completed the Countess quest, but when it comes to this Tools of the Trade quest with the Horadric Malice, it's still not grayed out, but it is completed in every other sense. We, of course, have provided Charcy with the hammer she wanted. We have retrieved it. We have done everything that she wanted us to do. And the only, like, way that this quest could be considered not completed is because it's not grayed out, because we still have that reward of hers to receive. But like I said in the introductory video, this reward is based completely on our character level and of course the type of item we give her. So I am going to wait until later with using this reward. I'm not going to be too hardcore as to wait to like level 80 to hope for a godly circlet imbue or something like that, but I am probably going to wait for until like level 50 or 60 to use her services. Now, let me see if yeah, Kane also has something to say now that we have progressed far enough in the game.
It is certain that we face the Demon Queen, Andariel, who has corrupted the Rogue Sisterhood and defiled their ancestral monastery. This does not bode well for us, my friend. Ancient Horadric texts record that Andariel and the other lesser evils once overthrew the three prime evils, Diablo, Mephisto, and Baal, banishing them from hell to our world. Here they caused mankind untold anguish and suffering before they were finally bound within the Soul Stones. Andariel's presence here could mean that the forces of hell are once again aligned behind Diablo and his brothers. If this is true, then I fear for us all. You must kill her before the monastery becomes a permanent outpost of hell, and the way east lost forever.
Yes, the plot thickens. Anyway, let's also level up. Maybe let's put 5 points into energy, just to have a little bit of a more easygoing situation when it comes to our mana. And also we have, you know, once we progress in levels, we unlock more skills. I'm not going to go into lightning. I am going to start putting some points into static field. This is an amazing ability that, as it says here, it weakens enemies by 25%. What that means exactly is that by using it once, it is going to reduce the opponents around us, the health of theirs, by 25% of their current health, not their maximum health. So it doesn't deal like 25% of their health's damage every time, but with each cast it is going to be less and less. It's going to be 25% of their current health, but it's still, of course, it's an amazing ability that on normal can reduce monsters' health down to 1, on nightmare to 33%, and on hell to 50% of their health, which of course is still amazing on stuff like act bosses and some really tough special groups of monsters. And basically, normally you would only put 1 point here in a final build, and in our ultimate build we are going to just put 1 point, because this ability is going to be upgraded by our plus skills gear. However, in this iteration of our build, we are going to put a few more points into it, like probably 4 or 5, just to increase its range to be a little bit more usable. Normally when, you know, sometimes when you decide to use your normal respec already to switch to a different skill like Nova or Fireball, this has the advantage of basically being able to use all of these charge bolt points that are not going to be useful, because of course Nova doesn't get synergized by anything, and Nova is going to be your main skill of choice. You can basically use these charge bolt points that you previously spent into it and put it into different things like static, and that's actually the main speedrunning strategy for the Sorceress. A respec Like, it used to be around level 13, now I think they just farm Beetle Burst in Act 2 up to level 18 and respec there for, you know, changing Nova into their main skill, and then all of the points from Charge Bolt can go into Static Field. Usually 7 points here give a static and really nice range, but we're going to have, of course, a different plan for our build. Our Charge Bolt is going to last us for, you know, basically the entirety of normal, although it does lose its punch around Act 4 and Act 5, but by that time we are going to have a different skill to help us out. But of course more of all of that is going to come later. Kain, of course, gave us the final quest to kill Andariel. And yeah, let's just see what dropped for us here. 6 to life. I think now it's going to be the time to get rid of that Grand Charm, and we can just sell some of this stuff. And yeah, I think this is going to be it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time for the final push in Act 1 to kill Pitspawn, Foul Dog, and Bone Ash, and Andariel. So I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.